You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Breaking news, current events, and trending stories on The Morning Takeover at 9. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Breaking news, current events, and trending stories. Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack are dominating the airways with The Morning Takeover on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Would you like to advertise your business on the radio? We're seeking sponsors for The Morning Takeover. Space is limited, so act now. Send an email to morningtakeoverjw@gmail.com for more information. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. You're listening to The Morning Takeover on 92.7 WKRA-FM with James Mack, Wisdom's Daughter, in the building. And we have so much to talk about on this marvelous Monday. The weekend was jam-packed with talks of the Donald Trump assassination attempt. Wow, someone actually tried to take Donald Trump's life at a pep rally in Pennsylvania. We're going to be getting into all that and more. We're going to talk about what happened, how it happened, why it happened, and what this means for the Trump campaign. Also, Joe Biden has a message for America, and so we're going to talk about his response and what Donald Trump is doing now. All this and more on The Morning Takeover. But first, we've got James Mack with local stories and your news. James?
And good morning, Wisdom. How are you? And good morning to our listening audience. We're looking at some real hot temperatures on today. The heat from the weekend has spilled over into our Monday. We got afternoon highs that will be in the mid to the upper 90s, with the heat index likely to climb into a heat advisory territory. So please be careful with this extended period of hot weather. It's really going to be very, very uncomfortable. Check for cooling centers with transportation available. Call your town halls and your county seats to get that emergency information for people to stay cool. There's still people that don't have air, and or they might be having problems. Please call your local city halls and your local county officials to find out ways to help you stay cool from their standpoint. Please stay cool in the air, drink water, watch out for your pets. Right now, we're looking at 80 at Olive Branch. In Oxford, it's 80. In South Haven, it's 81. And it's 83 in Holly Springs, Memphis, Shelby County area. And we're going to be going into a story that we were brushed to on last night in the city of Holly Springs. That's for those of you that have heard this information. This is what's going on with the 4 unalived persons in Holly Springs on last night. 4 people were unalived in the shooting in Holly Springs, Mississippi. The officials in Holly Springs says Holly Springs Police Department and the Marshall County Sheriff's Office responded to a incident at a home on Woodward Street just before 7 p.m. on Sunday. Marshall County officials say that 3 women and 1 man was unalived in a drive-by shooting. A 5-year-old was in the vehicle at the time of this incident, but was unharmed. There's no information on any other victims, their ages at this time. I have been in touch with the Holly Springs Police Department and with the officials of Mayor Sharon Gibson's office, and I'm going to be following up on this story for tomorrow's show. So there's a lot more information that I'd like to spread to you all because Holly Springs is in the direct line of our station, and you wanted to know here. That's all that I have from the WKRA News Desk to Wisdom and our stories there far going forward.
Awesome, James. Thank you so much. James is going to make sure you know what the weather is. He's going to make sure you know if there's any storms coming, because it's very important that we are prepared. And of course, he's always got that local news. And so, in some sad news, Shannon Doherty has lost her battle with cancer at the age of 53. Unfortunately, the disease spread to her bones. You may remember Shannon Doherty from Beverly Hills 90210. If you were around at that time and you were watching, she was also an actress in a show called Charmed. And again, she has lost her battle at age 53 after battling cancer of the breast for 9 years. Unfortunately, the disease spread to her bones, and so we are lifting up her family. It's with such a heavy heart that we have to share this news with you. I grew up with Beverly Hills 90210. 80s baby, and growing up in the 90s, that's who we looked to. We that was the first reality TV before it was truly reality TV. But her publicist confirmed her passing to People magazine on Saturday, July 13th. Again, she lost her battle with cancer after many years, 9 years fighting this disease. She was a devoted daughter, sister, aunt, and friend, and was surrounded by her loved ones as well as her dog, Bowie. The family is asking for privacy at this time so that they can grieve in peace. I know sometimes people can be a little insensitive in media, but the family is grieving, and we want to remember them. Shannon Doherty is survived by her mother, Rosa Elizabeth Doherty, and her brother, Sean Doherty. She did not have any children. And her death comes after she opened up about her cancer diagnosis with People magazine just last November. The Charmed star revealed that after being diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015, the disease had now spread to her bones. But she said she's not done living. I am not done living. I am not done with creating. I am not done with hopefully changing things for the better. I'm just not. I'm not done. Awesome message from Shannon Doherty, letting us know. I truly believe that she lived her life to the fullest. Her co-star in Charmed, Alyssa Milano, is someone that she deeply respected. And so again, we'll be lifting up Shannon Doherty's family at this time as they grieve. Now, in better news, a retired man from Atlanta turns a school bus into a mobile laundry service for the homeless. I thought this was an amazing local story. So, Nicky Crawford, he's a retired African American man from Atlanta, Georgia, is using his personal resources to make a profound impact on his city's local homeless population, ensuring that they have access to basic necessities. In the city of Atlanta, homelessness is a major issue, with people sleeping on sidewalks all throughout the downtown and midtown area. And he says in a city where over 250,000 of the state's homeless reside. I didn't know that. And eviction backlogs in Fulton County have been forcing more and more people to have to live on the street. And so Crawford's efforts really are a beacon of hope. What some may consider a chore, Crawford, because who likes doing laundry? I know I don't. But Crawford views this as a dream fulfilled. With the help of a student-led engineering team from Georgia Tech, he turned a school bus into a fully operational mobile laundry service for those living on the streets, stating his goal is to provide clean clothes for the week so individuals can change regularly. Often it's not the people who smell, but their clothes, he explained. The idea for the mobile laundry came after a successful launch of Crawford's Flowing with Blessings, Inc. shower trailer, which provided relief for many homeless individuals over the years. Crawford's mission extends beyond laundry and showers. He has built a community centered around meeting people's immediate needs, offering services like haircuts, health checks, and hot meals. And during a Juneteenth event in downtown Atlanta, he unveiled his laundry bus, collaborating with PAD, Morehouse School of Medicine, local barbers, and veteran affairs representatives, stating, "We want everyone to feel at home here, enjoy a meal, take a shower, and be part of a family environment." Crawford emphasized, and his message is clear: with compassion and acceptance, meaningful change is possible. Reflecting on his motivation, Crawford added, "I've always felt for those less fortunate, but for the grace of God, this could be me." James, I don't know about you, but I might want to vote Nikki Crawford for president. I'm just saying. Because we've got the Dems, right? We've got the Republicans, but we also have those who are independent, who are not one or the other, who are looking for another option. So what do you think? You know, he's in the right age category, right? He's probably the same age as Donald Trump and Biden. So but no, this
Right.
this is an amazing story. I love to hear stories about people giving back to their community and something that is so needed. And he used his own money, you know?
Yeah. And it's a wonderful thing because I always said this, and I think I get sometimes I get a little backlash. I still believe in good people. I just really still believe that there's still people in this world, in our communities, that really do care. I've seen that. I've witnessed that. We've witnessed that when we put a call out. And just to see this man taking an opportunity to just share what he has without asking anybody for anything, just say, "Here, let me just be good." It's nothing, and it costs nothing to be good to each other.
No, kindness goes a really, really long way. And as you said, it's not always that the people smell as their clothing. So I just think this is awesome. Our listeners reminded us that Richard Simmons also passed away in Dr. Ruth. And so we're losing some great ones. And
Oh no! Oh
yeah,
no! Really?
yeah, yeah,
Dr.
Richard.
Ruth? What? Dr. Ruth has to be 100. How old was she, Wisdom? I know Richard Simmons. Everybody that did their exercise crave. He really was. He kept in shape. How did he keep his hair? I don't know, but Richard
Hairspray.
Simmons was really something.
Lots and
Yeah.
lots of hairspray. Um,
Yes.
yeah, it looks like if I have the right Dr. Ruth, I think she was around 96. And she was around 96.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. She passed away a couple of days ago. I'm not sure how old Russell Simmons I said Russell Simmons. Oh my goodness, Richard. Mr. Simmons,
Richard.
I am not trying to
Richard.
send you to Jesus any
He
earlier
was.
than your time. Sorry, Richard
Richard
Simmons.
was 76. He was 76 years
Okay.
old.
Wow. Yeah,
Yes,
I
he
mean
was
that's
70.
that's
And that's something.
that's
Yeah.
still I still
Well,
still kind of fairly
he's been
young.
around a long time. Been around a long
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah, listen, a lot of us were able to get our summer bodies ready because of him. He was very motivating. I'm just saying. I was in front of my TV on many a night and day with Richard Simmons. So yeah, so we're it's a little sad about his passing, but that
Yeah.
is that is just how it goes. And speaking of passing and just the beauty of life and appreciating life, which we're gonna get into it shortly. Donald Trump came within an inch of his life, literally came within an inch of his life. My immediate reaction to that is that I hope he understands now how serious this is, because Donald Trump likes to clown. Okay, he likes to kiki, he likes to clown. He doesn't always take this serious, but I hope he really understands now that this is a very serious thing. He's joked about his Project 2025 plan, potentially leveraging the military or Secret Service or whoever to assassinate his opponents or people who oppose him, and with immunity he could potentially get away with it. But it's no laughing matter. It's no laughing matter. And as we're going to talk about, while Donald Trump survived, one man didn't. And we're going to be talking about who the shooter was, who the victim was that lost their life as well, and ultimately what happened and why and how this could happen and what it means for Donald Trump. So we have a jam-packed show for you today. For those of you who are listening through social media, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe on those platforms. And we're going to be talking about this for several days because there's a lot to unpack here, and we're not going to be able to do it obviously in one show. But James, the Secret Service heads are going to roll. They have a lot
Yes.
of explaining to do because very, very, very poor planning. The fact that someone was able to climb onto, well, forget about the roof for a second. The fact that they didn't include that in the potential danger zone, right? This roof, this platform was so close to where Donald Trump was on stage with his supporters, and the fact that that was in the exclusion area again doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And this man was able to, very young man too, able to climb onto this roof and to fire off several shots. And it was the people, it was attendees at the rally who actually told police, hey, you got a guy on the roof. The Secret Service didn't see it. The his
You,
detail, they didn't see anything. Where was the guy with the scope and the binoculars who was supposed to be looking into the crowd like they did like in the old days? And so yeah, they have a lot.
the old days, huh?
Yeah, you old. I'm sorry. It's Monday.
I'm like I'm like the late great Harold Washington. He says, "I'm not hurting and ain't nothing broke, so I ain't worried about all of that. I'm a handsome dude now."
Listen, you can be old and handsome. What you about 92? James
Okay,
is gonna get me.
keep living, keep
I'm
living.
gonna end
Don't
up in the
get too close.
doghouse.
Keep living, keep
I'm gonna
living,
end up in the
keep
doghouse.
living. I'm a
I have more gray
nice
hair than you,
gentleman. I'm a nice gentleman. I'm a
I
cool,
got more
laid
gray
back gentleman. Hey, okay. But you were saying, see, you got one coming. Ooh,
I know I
I'm the
do.
king of getting you back. I'm the king of getting you back, Wisdom. You
I know I
got
got
me
one
there. But
coming.
anyway, I can't even. I
But
don't even have a comeback. I don't even have a comeback for that. But you were saying something about the Secret Service, and
yeah,
I am um, in journalism and in broadcasting. I had to go through some things with them. Uh, there was a Clinton event in the Mid South that I was invited. I was at another station, and the level of security that they had for former presidents was remarkable. There was a high school that they were at, and there were some malls and some tall places, and you saw snipers on
mm,
all these roofs. You saw surveillance, helicopters. You saw people were there because this man was there. He's that protected. Something happened. I got my theories, and people, we want to know what you got to say, but I'm just going to leave it at that until you tell, give me some more. Give me some
yeah.
more.
What we'll do is let's, since we already brought it up, and then after this we'll take a quick break. But let's talk about the planning mishap, right? Because it all starts with the planning. So, in response to the attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump, it's interesting because depending on the news outlet, it's former President Donald Trump, and in other news outlets, it's just President Trump. Anyway, but retired U.S. Secret Service leaders from Metro Atlanta reviewed the video footage to explain what viewers saw and what happens next, stating that the level of planning that goes into every security plan would surprise your average viewer. This is Dave Wilkinson. Wilkinson is the former head of the U.S. Secret Service in Georgia. He began protecting presidents in the Reagan administration. He was also part of the team that covered George W. Bush after the September 11th, 2001 terror attacks. Now, he said security during campaign seasons becomes more difficult, obviously, because of the large crowds. There are outdoor rallies. It's a little bit harder to manage. But he said in this current political environment, and I agree, obviously the threat level against those running for president is certainly higher than we've seen in many, many years. And for those of you who may not have realized, the last assassination attempt with an assault rifle was JFK. And that shooter didn't miss. He shot straight. He didn't miss. And so we're gonna get into this young man a little bit later because he's being called a domestic terrorist. Obviously, he was an assassin because they did take him down, but he was not skilled. And you're going to be very surprised when we go into a little bit of his background. There were some things that were kind of like funny, not funny. But the truth is, the last assassination attempt period, of course, we know was on Reagan, but the last one, like in this manner, was JFK. So again, this is really serious. Retired special agent in charge Ray Moore led the U.S. Secret Service field office in Atlanta. Now he's protected presidents going all the way back to Nixon, and he said.
Yes.
He said once the agents on stage heard the gunfire, notice how they covered the former president and pushed him below armed portions of the stage. We're actually going to look at the video. So those of you who are joining us again via social media, you'll be able to see that, and we'll describe it to those of you who are joining us via the radio. But we're actually going to break down this video because to me, I don't think those people moved fast enough. And then we'll get into Donald Trump's response and all those things. James, what was your initial reaction?
Yes. I have some breaking news, Wisdom, right now. We have breaking news from the United Press International. Judge Elaine Cannon in Florida has dismissed the classified documents case against Donald Trump. All of you know all of those classified documents that were found at Mar-a-Lago, his Florida home, his retreat. They just stated that the federal district judge Cannon dismissed the classified documents case against Donald Trump in a ruling early Monday. Cannon also said that appointed special counsel Jack Smith violated the Constitution. In the end, it seems that the executive growing comfort appointing regulatory special counsels in more recent eras has followed a ad hoc pattern of judicial scrutiny, according to Cannon. So she really let Jack Smith have it. We're going to be digging into this more. This is big news, folks. If I could elaborate, I mean, we have this happen on the weekend, and then we have the ruling by Florida U.S. District Judge Cannon on the actual. Everybody has seen with their own eyes the documents that were found in not only just the closet and in his drawer, but in the bathroom on the floor.
Everywhere.
Sensitive documents.
Yeah, do you remember he had the nerve to talk about Hillary Clinton, using some of her personal email account for some business stuff, and this man has got government documents littered in his bathroom. Ew. Right.
It's ridiculous, and we haven't gotten a statement from the Justice Department as of now. This is serious, and if I can't stress any more, this is going to. What about the other cases, the one in D.C. that's pursuing? I don't think that judge is going to barge, and we don't know what the Georgia outcome is going to be with D.A. Willis and her group. They put that on hold, and his pending sentencing from New York City. What's the impact on this is going to? You actually got this man caught with the actual documents on purpose, saying they're mine. No, they belong to the federal government, and we're going to have more on that, Wisdom. I had to bring that news into everybody to let you know that first of all, we're on top of it. Yeah, my goodness. Go ahead, Wisdom. I'm going to check this a little bit more.
Yeah, some of our
Yeah,
listeners are saying that, they knew this was coming. They're not surprised, and that this feels kind of like a distraction. People were
yeah,
talking about Project 2025. Then Trump denies knowing anything about it. Remember, we talked about that last week, why he's trying to separate
right,
himself from it, which we know for obvious reasons.
right.
And, that was revealed in video that, he lied about that. And then there's the attempted assassination. So, really interesting, all
Yes.
these things, all these moving parts that are happening. And so, we're going to get more into this story. But first, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be right back right after. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Breaking news, current events, and trending stories on The Morning Takeover at 9. Butters and Black Soap offers high-quality, handcrafted butters, black soaps, and oils made with all-natural ingredients that improve the appearance of hair, skin, and nails. Try Butters and Black Soap's amazing collection of African black soaps sourced from Ghana and infused with ingredients such as turmeric, oatmeal, sea moss, coconut milk, activated charcoal, and more to promote healthy-looking skin. Say goodbye to dry, cracked skin with the Sea Moss Body Cream by Butters and Black Soaps. This non-greasy formula will leave your skin soft and supple. If you want to achieve a natural, healthy glow, try one of their whipped shea butters. Indulge in the luxurious feel of African black soaps and more by Butters and Black Soap. Shop now at www.butters_blacksoap.com. Use custom code WISDOM for a 15% discount. Shop now. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Breaking news, current events, and trending stories on The Morning Takeover at 9. And we are back. You're listening to The Morning Takeover, 92.7 WKRA-FM with James, and I am Wisdom's Daughter. And we've been giving you a live update on the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. We're also going to be getting into Biden's response to it and Donald Trump's response. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the beginning and kind of talk through how some of this chaos unfolded, because Donald Trump literally was mid-sentence when he grabs his neck and you hear a pop, 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 and then he goes down. And so there may be some of you who are listening who weren't fully aware of exactly what happened. Former President Donald Trump was rushed off stage after loud popping sounds rang out as he was speaking to supporters in Butler, Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh at a rally. Trump was removed from the site by Secret Service with his fist raised after making noises. And I'm just going to highlight that for just a second, because the Secret Service was trying their best to get Donald Trump out of there. And as you can see, those of you, again, who are tuning in and streaming through our streaming services, Donald Trump's face is bloody. The Secret Service, they're surrounding him. They're trying to protect him. They're trying to get him out of there. But he just has to show his brute strength. He responds by putting his fist up in the air. And it seemed almost as if they were having to fight with Donald Trump to get him off the stage. I don't know if that was necessarily the right time. There are people out there in the community who have made comments like it kind of reminded them of like the Hitler stance. Not really sure about that. But when something like this happens, it's important that you follow the instructions of the Secret Service, and it is not the time to want to show off and all those things. One of our listeners said after President Biden's performance at the debate, Trump couldn't pay for this perceived strongman persona. His base is certainly energized now. And we're going to get into Biden because Biden has been speaking. He spoke almost immediately after when he reached out to Donald Trump to check on him personally, but he also has a message for America. And we're going to be hearing from the president a little bit later, because not only did he look strong, he sounded strong. He didn't mince words. He didn't fumble the ball. He spoke so clear. And in my opinion, he proves why not only does he deserve every opportunity at a fair shot at a second term, but that he is more than capable to lead this country. One interesting thing about the Secret Service is that typically with standing presidents, when they're at a function like this, they have them behind bulletproof glass in outdoor settings. But the thing is, this is not the protocol for former presidents. And more than likely, as a result of this, that's going to change. And so, excuse me. And so Donald Trump didn't really have a whole lot of protection when we're talking about the why this happened. It happened for a couple of reasons. It happened because of poor planning. And that was the Secret Service just dropping the ball in their planning stages. But it also happened because of the fact that, again, Donald Trump as a former president, they don't do that. They don't get the full bulletproof glass. Well, he obviously needed it. Someone decided that, they were not happy or going to stand for his Project 2025 plan. And I can't speak for this young man. Unfortunately, he is no longer living, and don't know what his motivation was, but it doesn't matter. And I love Biden's message. There is no place in America, or there should not be any place in America for this type of violence. But when you have a former president who's inciting violence, like what we saw in the January 6th insurrection, you embolden people. I think the issue with Donald Trump is that he never expected that the barrel would turn on him and that the violence would be directed towards him. I think in some ways, Donald Trump may have thought that he was somehow invincible. And unfortunately, while the bullet missed Donald Trump, it did hit another person who lost their life that day. And we'll be sharing some information about this particular guy. And so again, mid-sentence, Donald Trump reaches for his ear. He realizes that he's been shot. He ducks down. People are screaming as agents push Donald Trump to the ground. And then they were able to get him off the stage. Again, not easily, because, Donald Trump, again, I don't know if it was delirium, James, you tell me. Why was it necessary for him to do that? Why was it necessary for him to put his fist up in the air and show everybody, hey, I'm okay, I'm strong, when he obviously needed medical attention? Was it shock? What are your thoughts?
I would have been out of my mind. And let's look at what happened. If history serves me right, when former President Ronald Reagan was coming out of the hotel under the garage going to his car, and I think his name was John Hinckley, put himself in within arm's length of the president. One protocol is this: you search everybody. You can't even get near him, near his car, the president or whoever that protect his vehicle, their home. There's some strict guidelines. They say 150 yards. This young man was that close, and with whatever instrument he had, was able to aim and somehow hit what he needed to hit. We don't delve into the young man either. I heard reports that the young man was bullied in high school. He was like the nerd. He would wear a mask after C-19 restrictions were over. Good to school and all that stuff. He was kind of like the outcast.
He was. Yeah,
he was kind of like he was the outcast. Oh, I'm sorry. And being the outcast, he was bullied heavily. Some of his classmates were saying on another report that he was bullied hard often. Like they knew who they were talking about. Now, I'm saying that how did this young man come into his mind to get this idea that I'm going to do this? And how in the world did he get that close on a standing building without covering. How did he get up there? Did he get a
Well, we
ladder?
actually have
Did he go
video.
through a trap door?
Yeah, we've got the
Yeah, I
video. We've
mean,
got the
and how?
video of
Yeah,
exactly how he got up there. The interesting thing is that this young man was
yeah,
on the rifle club or something at his high school, or attempted to
yeah,
be on the rifle club and was denied because of his poor shooting skills. And so, Donald
yeah.
Trump is very lucky that it was this young man who apparently, because of his history, probably, wasn't
Yeah.
ever going to be able to execute
But
this, and that it wasn't someone
but
more
do you
skilled.
think? But do you think that he was grilled or he was groomed? That is, quote unquote. People,
I don't think so.
predators
I
groom.
don't
You don't think that somebody groomed him to do
no.
something like this? Because wisdom, let me explain something. Within that range, you're not. The Secret Service knows what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
If they
They
knew
know
what they were
within
doing,
150.
if they knew what
Yeah,
they were doing, and if they were better
yeah.
prepared, they would have looked at that roof as a vulnerability. But getting back to your question, I
Well,
don't think I
line.
don't
Okay,
think
well, line of sight. I'm sorry, wisdom. Line of sight. That's what it's called. There are line of sights. You cannot be within 3 to 5 miles around a perimeter where a protectee is of his caliber,
yet and
president or
still
foreign president.
Yet and still, this young man
But
climbed up
yeah,
on a roof. Yet and still, the Secret Service didn't
how?
see it. Yet and still, it was Trump
Yeah,
Trump rally attendees who had to alert the police
I agree.
and yell to them.
I
What
agree.
we're also going to hear
Yeah,
one
now
of these
that
videos.
frightens me too. But wisdom, that frightens me too. There was an alert from someone to a law enforcement official,
Several
letting
people,
them know, hey, somebody is on the roof with a
several
rifle,
people.
something that now if
Let's
they
go.
could
Let's go
see
to
it.
the
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
let's go to the video. I actually want to play it.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
go to the
All
video
right. Let's.
and see exactly what happened. Hang on one second. Let's get this video up. Additionally, what in doing research on this, what I also learned is that Donald Trump, again, the bullet grazed him, but the young man or gentleman that actually was hit, the people were screaming for a medic. Okay, the people were hollering and screaming for a medic, but because Donald Trump is so busy fist pumping with his fist in the air, and the people, didn't understand what was going on, and everyone is oh, he's okay, and wow, wow, wow. It drowned out the cries for help for this man, and who knows if he might have been potentially saved had he got help sooner. So here's the
Yeah.
video of the actual shooting.
I hope he's turning this way. Be careful, guys.
Now, the person is blurred out at this point because it's very possible that he may have been taken out at this point, but you can hear the screaming, you can hear the chaos. This young man was wearing clothing where he kind of blended in with his surrounding. Now, this is a video that looks like was originally shot by TMZ and obtained by BBC. But
But
we're
it
also going to
shows
hear,
something.
yeah,
But it shows something also that these shot. There were people. There again, I say there were people
mhm.
150 yards away from where the president was speaking. Somebody seen something. When you got a gathering of people, the Secret Service, the state police, whoever their agencies are in place, one for crowd control. You don't know why they're there. You got a protectee 150 yards away. And then you got a kid, that's what he is,
Yeah,
on
he's a
top of the
kid.
roof
Yeah,
shooting while these people are below him. Somebody had
and you
to
know
turn
why?
their camera over there. Why?
And you know
I'm
why?
listening.
Because the
I'm
shooter
listening.
was outside of the protected perimeter. The shooter was
Okay.
outside the fence line, and he made his way because this roof is not that high. So he was able to make his way up onto the roof because the roof is relatively low.
Yeah.
Again, the issue is that this was an oversight. Someone dropped the
Something
ball
happened. A
in
big
terms
time. The
of,
big
yeah,
time.
you
Either that, or I don't know. Some people are saying, wisdom. I just don't. Not into. Not. No. No. I'm not even.
here's why I don't
They
think
go
they
to
knew.
foreign countries. They go to Iraq. They go to Christmas time in a war
Who's they?
zone.
Who's they?
Okay, that presidents
Okay.
and they go visit Iraq, or they go visit wherever their troops are. They do these surprise visits. Now, with
Mhm.
technology like it is, okay, everybody knows what's going on. You have to really be good. You got to have the top notch technical equipment to make sure that's drones, helicopters. There was medevac that was there, so it had to be a police helicopter somewhere that would have saw this young man on
There
this roof,
wasn't.
and
James,
he
what are
was
you talking
alerted by the
about?
police.
There
Okay,
was no
well,
helicopter. There was no helicopter.
had to
And the
be something.
Secret Service and those who were in charge of protecting the president. This is why Biden is opening up a wide investigation to figure out what happened here, because it could have been him. It could have been anyone. There was
Yes.
no
What I'm
helicopter.
saying is,
People.
yeah, what I'm saying is, let me say this. I'm saying with the technology that's available, let me
Should
make
have
it
been.
clear. With the
Should have been, right?
technology that's made, it should have been in effect. You're on the
They
outside
had
too.
drones.
There's no
But
there's no
here's the
bulletproof
thing.
glass. There's
Here's the
no bulletproof barrier
They
that
didn't do that for former
separates him from
presidents.
that crowd.
They
No.
didn't do that for
Well,
former
when they
presidents.
did, no,
And see,
they don't do. I
here's
don't
the
know.
key. Here's the key. It's possible because, again, Donald Trump is a former president. If this was Biden, they probably would have had a whole lot more security because it is the president. But because it's a former president and this was just a rally, there weren't that many people there, James. It wasn't a whole lot of people. All things political
Right.
said, Trump told his followers that something big was going to happen at that rally. And that's interesting because honestly, my instinct was, did Trump set this up? Did he tell someone,
Okay.
the
Okay.
dude
Well,
do
that's the cat.
something? Now again, I
That's the
don't.
cat in the room.
Listen. Let me put up the. This is speculation. This is just my opinion. It doesn't necessarily represent the views of the station. But this is what I want to
And
do.
you
I want to play the video of ultimately what happened.
now we get into it.
From
Yes.
the beginning, for those of you who didn't necessarily get to see it. So let's go ahead and play
Let's see.
that video of Donald Trump.
Now we're where we need to be. Okay, wisdom.
Take a look at what happened. Take a look at what happened.
And so Donald, for those of you who are listening, Donald Trump, you hear the pop pop. He says, take a look at what happened. He grabs his ear, his neck. Okay, he realizes that he's been shot, and then you hear the pop pop, and he goes down immediately. And then it is absolutely.
We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. Next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
We were just about to go live on the BBC World Service. We heard some shots fired.
Everyone was very panicked and went down immediately.
Okay, do you hear that? Do you hear them chanting USA, USA? Because I'm going to show another video. And again, those of you who are listening will be able to hear the audio. You can hear the screams and the cries for a medic, for the people who were injured and the person who was shot. But because Donald Trump wants to use this as an opportunity to turn it into a patriotic moment for him, and they're shouting USA, USA, no one heard the calls for the medic. This is the problem that I have. It's always a clown show and a monkey show when it comes to Donald Trump. This was not the time. This was a very, very serious moment. He needed to get out of there immediately. He stated that he did not want to be carried out. He wanted to walk out on his own. And it's making me wonder, and we have to be careful because I don't want to put any propaganda, but it's making me wonder if this was staged, potentially. Was it staged?
Well,
I don't know.
Wisdom, I want to say this to follow up on what you said. The protocol for anything like this is to get the president to the most secured place possible, and that was the armored vehicle. Get him in there, drag him, pull him by his hair, whatever the case may be. They did not handle him like there was a gunshot that there was a gun shooting going on. That means
How
you
could
get
they?
him
Look
out of
what
there
he's
then.
doing.
That's
Look
what
what
I'm
he's doing.
saying. Look,
He's got 1, 2, 3,
I'm pumping my
4
fist.
people.
I'm alive. Yes, I'm just saying, and I'm taking this from the standpoint of procedure. What I've seen them do, you could pop a balloon, literally, and if it sounds like something, they're going to surround that protectee. Period, and get them out of there. If somebody's in there with a weapon, they have to get that person into the most secure
James, they
place
tried.
possible.
They
Well, he was
tried.
slow poking, so that
Look
makes me think
look at
about
what he's
something,
doing. He
Yes.
is. I'm gonna play the rest of the video and then we'll go to the other one. But they tried their best. Look at how they're fighting him. Still, okay. Let me freeze frame. Let me go back. Let me freeze the frame. All right, here they are trying to shuffle him in the vehicle, and he's still standing. Now it's the big suburban SUV, and you climb into an SUV, you have that little landing where you can stand. So Donald Trump is standing, the door is open, and he's got his fist up in the air. Once again, I don't think this was becoming of a future president to handle it this way, but if we're talking about Donald Trump, not at all surprised. Not at all.
But I want to show you something also in that spot. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
In that spot that you had, wisdom.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'll say this. I'll say this on the other side of this. Go ahead.
2 people are dead. One is the shooter. One is someone who was inside the crowd, and 2 other people are now critically injured.
He had a headshot here. There's lots of blood.
This is the doctor who attempted to give the victim CPR. He tried with his everything to save this man's life.
Helicopter coming in to get him.
We're calling an assassination attempt against our former president.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick.
Absolutely.
Take a look at what happened.
Absolutely, it is, and so getting back to your question about this young man potentially being groomed. I don't necessarily feel that this young man was groomed per se. What I would say is that he may have felt emboldened by, again, what we've seen over the last 8-9 years of these white supremacist groups, the violence that we saw in Charlottesville with the van being driven into a crowd of peaceful protesters. People are becoming more and more emboldened. Unfortunately, this man lost his life. Here he is with, I don't know if that's his daughter or his wife. But we have to be reminded, Donald Trump didn't even stop to think for a second that someone else may have been hurt. If the bullet missed him, then who did it hit? He's not thinking about any of that.
That's what I'm saying, wisdom. Something is behind this to a point where
he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. We know he doesn't. We know. We know he doesn't.
I don't care about you. Just want your votes. That's what he said.
That's true. That's what he said. But then his actions, I'm telling you, somebody said this, and I'm so glad we have our banner up. And this is discussion, and this is to look at all sides. That this had to be, there are too many indicators that are showing me, wisdom, that this was, somebody had their hands in this. This was like, it was staged almost.
It feels that way. We don't know.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know. We don't know. Speculation. It is.
It feels that way.
I don't, especially because people have lost their lives. And this is what I'm saying. As far as the grooming bid, people are influenced every day. This man has influenced almost half of the nation to rally to his side. Somebody, he was in this gun club. What about this gun club that he was a part of? These are AK-47. They seek after young men.
He wasn't allowed in. He wasn't allowed into the club because they said that he was such a terrible shot. But my thing is, this is what I see, right? I see a young man, as you said, who was bullied. We're going to hear a little bit more about his story after the next break. But I see a young man who was bullied in probably the most serious form and decided, okay, because remember, he's bullied in school, right? He graduates high school. He didn't get into the gun club. But it's so easy now, okay, because of the Trump administration. We have very loose gun laws now. And so he takes this as an opportunity to take his anger and frustration out in the easiest manner possible. They're calling it an assassination attempt, but someone said, how do we know that he wasn't aiming at the people behind Donald Trump, right? We don't know. And unfortunately, this young man can't tell us his story anymore. One of our listeners said it doesn't appear safe to support Donald Trump. And that was going to be a question that I had, is what does this mean for the Trump campaign? Because Donald Trump, at the start of this broadcast, was live in, I believe, Milwaukee. So he's already back on the campaign trail. And
he's at the convention now. He's at the convention city now.
It was sparse, though. It was very very sparse.
And then on top of this, here we got this news about them dismissing this case. Now, I'm just, something ain't right somewhere. Something is not right somewhere, because we have a man that literally did these things, and we got these judges. This is so important to know who your Congress people are, because these judges have to go through confirmation hearings. These are federal. Some are for lifetime appointments on the federal judiciary, and judges are so important. What if he gets, God forbid, look at how many choices he had for the Supreme Court, that he had 3, I think. He put 3 justices on the Supreme Court. That's a whole lot.
It's been an unfair fight for the Dems for quite some time. It's been a very, very unfair fight. Additionally, last week we did promise that we were going to provide to you a link to Project 2025. And so we're going to take a short commercial break, and then I will post up that link, and I will also tell you where you can find the link, because many of you wanted to read it. It's a 920-page document. Some of you were having trouble finding it. It is a PDF, and it is truly, if nothing else, eye-opening. And from what I've read so far, I think I only got to page 500 and something so far, but it looks like they ultimately want to undo everything that the Dems have put in place going back, I don't know how many eons of years. But anyway, we're going to be back right after this word from our sponsors, and we'll be talking more about Donald Trump. We're going to hear Biden's response and the message that he has for America right after this. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Breaking news, current events, and trending stories on The Morning Takeover at 9. Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack are dominating the airways with The Morning Takeover on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Would you like to advertise your business on the radio? We're seeking sponsors for The Morning Takeover. Space is limited, so act now. Send an email to morningtakeoverjw@gmail.com for more information. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. And we're back on The Morning Takeover with James and Wisdom on 92.7 WKRA-FM, talking about the Donald Trump assassination attempt. I think we have more questions than answers. How is it that this young man was able to get onto the roof? Why is it that the Secret Service didn't include this area within their no-go zone? Why is it that Donald Trump felt the need to fist pump after being shot and seeming to almost fight with the Secret Service agents to get off for them to get him off the stage and into the vehicle? And so other questions that we won't have an answer to. Why did this young man attack Donald Trump? And was the attack on Donald Trump, or was he aiming for someone else? Unfortunately, we just won't know. But what we're going to do now is we're going to do just another review quickly of what happened. And then we're going to hear from our current president, because again, he has a message for America. So let's hear another summary of what happened on Saturday at this rally. It is, I can tell you, James, personally, that I never expected to witness an assassination attempt in my lifetime. I thought that was something that happened back then. It wasn't a part of our current reality. And again, I think this goes back to what I said earlier about having to really take this serious and understand how serious this really is. This is a very politically charged time, and I think many of us agree that this is probably the most important election that we have seen in a very long time. But first, we're going to hear from Channel 9 News out of Sydney, who broke the story. Donald Trump speaks after the assassination attempt.
Realization of just how close he came to death is tonight sinking in for the former US President Donald Trump. He has spoken about the split second that saved his life when the would-be assassin opened fire at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. And President Joe Biden wants to know how a 20-year-old loner evaded security to get a clear shot.
Donald Trump at the podium. In this new video, you can hear him talking as the gunman, 20-year-old Thomas Crooks, crawls across a roof into position.
There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down, see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
Several people alert police. Crooks, using his father's rifle, is able to get off several shots. One bullet piercing Trump's ear. Within seconds, Crooks is shot dead by a police sniper. In his car, police found bomb-making material. The shooting now being treated as a possible domestic terror attack. Trump today reflecting on the day he dodged a bullet, telling newspaper reporters, "The most incredible thing was that I happened to not only turn, but to turn at the exact right time and in just the right amount. The chances of my making a perfect turn are probably 0.1%, so I'm not supposed to be here." Trump says he insisted on walking from the podium. I said, "I've got to walk out. I have to walk out. I did not want to be carried out. I've seen people being carried out, and it's not good." Today, we were able to see for ourselves where Thomas Crooks was able to climb up for his vantage point. And you can see just how close to the stage it is. A little over 100 metres away, underneath that flag, is where Donald Trump was speaking. And there are serious questions being asked here in the United States about how a man with a gun got onto a rooftop within firing range of a former president and pulled the trigger.
The national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened.
The FBI is looking into the gunman's motivation. Fellow students say he was bullied and mocked for wearing hunting outfits, but he was such a bad shot, he didn't make the school's rifle team.
I mean, he would sit alone at lunch. I mean, he was just the outcast.
As he was led from the stage, his face bloodied, Donald Trump used the moment to rev up his supporters, fist pumping, shouting, "Fight." There is chaos. One supporter capturing the moment just after several stray bullets struck 3 people. Avid Trump fan Corey Comparator was killed. The firefighter dived on his family as the shots were fired.
In his last moments, he was shielding his family from the gunfire, even if that was just a random civilian beside him, he would have done the same thing.
Another view from the stands where someone was shot. The cries for help drowned out.
I don't know whether we're having a technical difficulty or not. There's a audio problem, Wisdom.
Are you hearing me now?
I can hear you now. We have an audio problem with the visual for YouTube, and it took out the sound. But there was several questions that I had about how they got the former president away and off of that stage, and watching him. You just got shot at. You know what it was. Everybody heard it. Everybody knows what it is. You're there, and you're fighting the Secret Service. You want them to show. You know the cameras are back there. You're gonna pump your fist right in front of the cameras, and you have just been wounded. Come on, something's not right. Wisdom, something's not right somewhere.
I think that the when unfortunately our sound went out, but what we were highlighting was the fact that there was a young man who was a firefighter. He was the one who the bullet penetrated his head, and unfortunately he lost his life. What happened is that because Donald Trump decided to fist pump in that moment and incite the crowd, the people were screaming for a medic and trying to get
for a medic.
And Donald Trump basically drowned them out. And so the people, USA, USA, they didn't hear the cries for help. And it's possible that if this man had gotten medical attention sooner, he may not have lost his life. And so we will we may not have time to replay that video today, but we will definitely replay it later on in the week.
Yes, I'd like to say this also to that firefighter's family. I am a firefighter, certified firefighting officer, and my prayers and my regards are to that family of that firefighter who in a split second saved his family, and he could have helped save some others. And I just wanted to say that about the everyday people. That's all.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so much to unpack here. As we said it, we're not going to be able to cover everything in one show. And so you will have to come back tomorrow for part 2 and the next day after that. But ultimately there are more questions than answers for sure. Not sure exactly what this means for Donald Trump. Are people feeling like it's unsafe? Are people feeling like it's unsafe for them to be at his rallies? We don't know, but Donald Trump has come back in full force. He is determined to show his strength, especially after his constant joking and saying inappropriate comments against Biden about him being feeble. And so we don't even know if this man got the medical attention he needed. Melania Trump was speaking out, stating that, and we haven't heard from Melania Trump in a very long time, but she spoke out stating that this incident just reminded her of how her life and her children's lives could potentially be in danger because of things like this. And so
let's say this though, because and I know you're getting ready to play something, but now she's talking about Barron. Now she's been the first lady for 4 years. Okay, I never seen her come out and say anything about children or anything else like that. I think she's
She
being
has not
selfish by just saying,
she has not spoken
yeah,
about Donald
she ain't
Trump at
said
all.
nothing.
No,
She's
and
scared
I
for
mean
her and her family. Her and her family
now
are, she's
now
scared for her family. Yeah.
I mean, Melania
Go ahead,
Trump
but
Melania cannot control Trump any more than the Secret Service can. I mean, Donald Trump is a loose cannon. This is why, I consider him to be a dangerous candidate for the presidency. But Melania Trump, although she hasn't spoken out, she hasn't said anything in all this time. She is absolutely right. If this was indeed a bona fide assassination attempt and not just someone taking the opportunity to just, shoot anywhere and see where the bullets fall. If it was a true assassination attempt, then she's right. Her family could potentially be in danger. And it's something that they need to look at to ensure that former presidents who are campaigning are protected. I am not a Donald Trump fan, but at the end of the day, he is a human being and him and his family deserves to be protected. Not just him, but
exactly.
maybe they need to consider not having supporters behind the president on stage. That might be something that they need to look at potentially for the future and not do that. But here's the thing: if this man wanted to cause chaos, he could have just shot into the crowd. And so, but ideally,
He could have.
security is their job. We're going to hear from President Biden, and then we'll have time for some final thoughts and reactions. There's a lot of things that I want to say that I can't say on the radio, but
Oh, you can't, Wisdom. No, you can't. You can't say it. Don't you say it. Don't you say it. I'm gonna do you like you do me. I'm gonna do you like you do me, James. I can see you now, James. You give me that look. You see, women have that look that I ain't playing with you, and you got that voice look that said, James, I ain't playing with you now. Don't you go now. Look, James, but so I'm gonna give it back to you, Wisdom.
I will
All right,
keep some of my
Wisdom,
personal
Wisdom,
thoughts to myself. I'll be
sister, Wisdom, my dear sister. All right now. Okay. All right.
All right, let's hear from our president.
Good afternoon. Last night, I spoke with Donald Trump. I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering. And we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired. And he lost his life. God love him. We're also praying for the full recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change, but we're going to not lose sight of the fact who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the FBI, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service, my Homeland Security Advisor, the National Security Advisor, and we're going to continue to be briefed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Look, as this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. And I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened. And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, when you spoke to President Trump yesterday.
Now.
Yeah,
He
that's
didn't
what
stutter.
I'm talking about.
He didn't stutter.
No,
he
he
didn't
didn't.
stammer. He looked strong.
No, he didn't.
He
And
looked
look,
like our future president.
yeah. But you look at that. Look at this, Wisdom. Here, this man came up and said, listen, I directed my department head that's in charge of my security also. Make sure that the Trump campaign and the RNC, which we'll be talking about them as they go along in their convention highlights, but we'll be at the DNC. We were invited by them, and we got our clearances, and we're trying to get some things together. You'll hear about that later. But he said, I hope that all of you understand this. We got to be unified. He said, I care about him too. He's a former president. He's giving this man kudos in spite all the stuff that Donald Trump said about Joe Biden, all the things that he said, all the vicious garbage that he talked about. He gave this man respect. Even though I said, man, I know what you're going through because I'm in the office and I've been in the office. I've been in public service all my life. And I've had to have protection for my family. This is your first whim of this here. God, thank you, Lord, that the man didn't lose his life. Yes, I'm grateful. Are there some questions? Yeah, I hope they get to the bottom of it. But I think me and America, we got some questions. Somebody's got to answer some questions about this.
Yeah, and that's why he said it's an open investigation. And you also heard the president say very clearly, he spoke so well. Okay. And this message proves why, again, he deserves a fair shot at the presidency and why he is more than capable of being our president for a second term, despite what happened in the original or the first presidential debate. But you heard what Biden said. He said, let the FBI do their job. Don't come to conclusions. Don't speculate. Let's not try to fill in the gaps and figure out what the motive was and why, because this young man they shot him. And so he can't speak for himself anymore. He can't tell us the whys and the wherefores. And, I think sometimes we do have to be careful, even with our own opinions, to make sure that we are not spreading any kind of misinformation, which is not what we do here. We're about information and inspiration. And so, there are a lot of questions that we're asking. And as we say things, we're not suggesting anything. We're just asking questions because there are so many questions here. One of our listeners suggested that maybe Donald Trump should pull out of the race so he can ensure the protection of his family. I thought that was funny. We have posted up the link to Project 2025 in the chat for those of you who, again, are tuning in via YouTube. We will make this information available across multiple media platforms, Facebook and such, and we will make sure that it gets added to the description on this video for those of you who want access to it, who want to read it. Gonna read some of the comments because we want to hear from some of you. And as a matter of fact, we're gonna drop the link because we've got about maybe 10 minutes left. And if there's anyone that has a comment, if you want to let us know your thoughts, give us your opinion. We want to hear from you, on the street. What was your reaction? What does this mean for you? Do you feel that people who may have had some doubts about Biden, do they have renewed faith based upon his response to this incident? So we're going to drop the link so that you can call in. Those of you who like to call in and give us your thoughts, we do have time. And until then, we will read some of your comments for those of you who are listening. And so one listener said that Joy Reid from MSNBC is supposed to cover Project 2025 tonight. So that's not, she said she's guessing it's not going to happen, this quote unquote distraction, if that's what they were trying to do. Trump likes all this chaos. This should remind people of all the drama he caused on a daily basis when he was in office. That is, I said what I said. Another listener said, we cannot stop talking about Project 2025. Don't be distracted. Interestingly enough, Donald Trump is trying again to distance himself from Project 2025. I wonder why. It's not a very popular plan. I think one of the most surprising things, and we may actually go through in more detail Project 2025. We may have to dedicate some time a little bit each day to kind of go through it, the highlights of it. We've done it in the past, but to do a deep dive. And ultimately, what I noticed is a lot of the things that were put into place that greatly benefited the Black community, but benefited people from all different races, the white community, people, coming into this country who are getting citizenship and things like that, and illegal immigrants as well. Those who are middle class, those who are poor, the rural poor, and so forth. And what it looks like is Project 2025 is trying to roll it all back, basically stating that the previous administration upheld yada, 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 and we need to take it away. Stating that they want to take away TAMF, the food stamps, because there's a concern about food stamp fraud. They want to take away Medicaid and Medicare and Obamacare and just leave it up to the states and have private insurance so that people can get the best rates. Well, we know what's going to happen. There'll be a bidding war. And if there's no other affordable option, then people will be stuck having to pay high prices. And we've seen that happen before. Department of Education, they want to completely do away with the Department of Education, which means no more student loans. You'll have to pay for your own education out of your own pocket. We already know that affirmative action is off the table. There's a lot. I don't have my notes in front of me, but there is a lot. Project 2025, if that's their idea of making America great again, I'm not voting for Project 2025. Another listener, I am Mrs. BB, said, ever since Trump walked down the escalator at Trump Tower with a paid crowd, there has been unrest in this country. He is an evil man full of hate. He's a narcissist. He only cares about himself. June's Poetry said, President Biden was very presidential here. Absolutely. President Biden showed himself to be more than capable and showed himself why he deserves to be able to serve as president for another term. I don't believe that Donald Trump understands that as president, you are a civil servant. You are the civil servant, not one to be served, but to serve the people. He doesn't strike me as a man that has a servant's heart. Not in the least, especially when you have an incident where you are shot and your ultimate goal should be getting to safety. But you're more concerned about putting on a show. And unfortunately, that show incites the crowd to want to chant and drowns out the cries for help, for a medic, for the one person, innocent person, who unfortunately lost their life.
Yes. And you know something, Wisdom? It's a deep, 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 deep hurt to see where we are as a country. And knowing what I do know and what I do believe, I know that we'll be all right. But to see the fear and the agony in people's faces, not knowing what's getting ready to go on there, as I stated before, they're getting ready for this convention. He's in Milwaukee, a city that he called terrible and talked about and almost said it was, and this is my quote, ghetto or something. And they're prepared for whatever's going to happen. People are going to come from everywhere to this show. This is a show 5 nights a week. They're going to be on in primetime news, and we will cover any developments that come out of it. We had breaking news, as you've seen today, Wisdom, and I'm still with some questions about this incident, and I'm sure that we're going to be talking about it some more. So.
Absolutely, we will. So listen, that's all the time that we have for today. We want to thank you for joining us on the Morning Takeover. You can find us here Monday through Friday at our new time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, streaming live to YouTube, Your Man on the Street 1, or you can join us on the radio at 92.7 WKRA-FM. Go to their website. You can live stream the show. Tomorrow, we'll be back with more on the Donald Trump assassination attempt. We thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Breaking news, current events, and trending stories on The Morning Takeover at 9.